So, Eddington, not Edgington, as I thought it was called for the longest time.
Why?
I don't know.
You can read, can't you?
Occasionally, yeah.
Just sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
It's the newest film by Ari Aster. We recently caught up with Beau is Afraid.
Masterpiece.
Put that off for a while, but yeah, a couple of days ago we watched it. Masterpiece.
I think it's a masterpiece.
Yeah. Okay. Strong.
I think it's maybe one of the weirdest films I've seen in recent memory, but I genuinely think it's a masterpiece. It was so much funnier than I thought it was going to be.
I really liked it. Ari Aster only makes weird movies.
Yeah.
We've got
Safe to say.
Yeah, Hereditary, Midsommar, Beau is Afraid, and Eddington. Eddington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was making weird short movies before that as well.
Have you seen any of the shorts?
I've seen The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. Is that what the family's called? But yeah, weird film.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a theme. There's a theme here.
But you tell me he's a totally normal dude.
He seems like a totally normal dude in interviews.
He can't be.
No, I'm sure he has some interesting ideas. But so Eddington is probably the most normal film that he's made.
Yeah. Well,
most accessible.
I don't even think accessible. I think Hereditary is probably more accessible.
Do you think so? As a horror movie?
Yeah.
For horror fans?
Yeah.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, because this sort of disguises itself as a sort of a Western.
I don't think it disguises itself. I think it is a Western.
Yeah.
Neo-Western.
What I mean by that is that I would imagine that there's a certain type of person that would have seen the trailer for this and gone, oh, that looks like it's right up my street, and then gone to watch it and been very, very disappointed.
Yeah, I can see why a lot of opinions would be divided on this one.
It's been pretty divisive, has it?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of positive stuff, but I think anything that is somewhat political by nature, people will find a reason to be offended and will hate it as a result.
Yeah. I also think the opposite is true. Like, it's funny because I've seen some people reviewing it on TikTok, and I get a mixture. My algorithm's weird. I get a mixture of far right stuff and far left stuff, and some stuff, and Greg Wallace.
Wallace.
Yeah.
So more far right stuff then, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but it's interesting to look at all of the different sort of opinions, and it seems like a lot of people, their political views are influencing what they think about the movie. And I think the movie is very political, obviously. It's not a subtle movie in any way, but I don't think it's really as damning as some people might think to one side or the other.
I agree.
It's sort of a bit like everyone's a bit fucked, really, aren't they?
He's certainly taking pot shots at all sides here.
Yeah, and that's something that I really, really liked about it. It was a bit more nuanced, and rather than just a general, I don't know, to come at it with a certain point of view, I think is fine, but to offer nuance to this particular subject, I think is really good. Because are we going to spoil this?
No, let's not.
Keep it.
I don't think we need to.
Okay, fair enough. So it's obviously set in 2020 during the pandemic, and there's a lot of confusion, and people are divided and isolated and scared. And then that's when people are vulnerable. They feel out of control. There's a conspiracy theory for you. No one else knows about this. You're going to be the only one, and you can spread it, and you have some sort of sense of power. Well,
but yeah, people like to think that they know the answers, don't they? And so few of us really do. But I think that the difference is the rest of us are just like, yeah, I don't know, whatever, shrug. And they're just like, no, we're being lied to. Yeah, probably. But not necessarily in the way you're insisting. That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, there's always obviously like weird shit going on, and a broken clock is right twice a day. Sometimes conspiracy theories might eventually end up being close to the truth of something. I can't think of any specific things, but obviously they're a big deal for a reason. And there was a lot of that stuff sort of going around, and there was a lot of stuff linked to the masks and all of that ideology about I'm not wearing my mask and it's not effective and all of that. And they explore that in the film through the character of Joe Cross, played by Joaquin Phoenix. But I didn't feel like it was weird. I before everything went down and like Act 1 stuff, not spoilers, but before, when we're just sort of introduced to the character, he just seemed like a pretty normal bloke, a pretty decent guy who seems to want to do the right thing and stand up for people and just make everyone happy. And then there's other stuff that sort of happens, but the way that it happens is, I think it's nuanced, and it sort of shows how anyone, given the circumstances, could fall into a similar situation.
Yeah, I can see
I feel
that.
like, and I really liked that about that. I thought it was really well done, actually.
Yeah, I think it was interesting, the sort of the multiple directions that they sort of came at this from, because it was only 5 years ago, but it was really crazy seeing it all play out on a huge screen. All the shit that we lived through, like the having cotton swabs shoved up your nose and the arguments that ensued because some people wanted to wear a mask, some people didn't want to wear a mask, some people were convinced that, you know, the vaccines were doing more damage and all that sort of stuff. The BLM riots, the Antifa stuff got really big around that time. Just a ton of stuff that really did happen, but that watching it with a removal of like only 5 years, it was like, God, that feels like a different time. That feels like a different reality. And if we hadn't literally lived through it, I think it would have been like, this is too weird. This is some dystopian sci-fi nonsense.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's stranger than fiction, and it is half a decade ago now, but we're all still kind of suffering the consequences of that, be it politics or health, mental health.
Even COVID. COVID hasn't gone away.
Yeah,
like the threat is still there.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. It was interesting to sort of revisit that. And if someone watched this in 30 years' time that wasn't around during the pandemic, they might go, well, this is weird. Did this all really happen? And you can imagine them going on Google going, oh, blimey, yeah, it really all did. And I think in another movie, maybe there would be too much going on and it wouldn't necessarily make sense. Like, it doesn't really all make sense. You can sit down and think about it and have theories. But I think that's sort of part of its strength in this case, because it was such a weird time with all of this stuff going on.
Well, a lot of it was so heavily linked as well, because like the same people whinging about, you know, having to wear masks are the same people whinging about the race riots in the streets, are the same people who were reposting conspiracy theories of paedophile rings in the basement of pizza shops, that sort of thing. And it all kind of is linked together in this film in the same way that it is in real life, which I think, I get what you're saying. In somebody else's hands, it would have felt like too much going on. But I think because in real life all of those things were so closely linked, it made sense. And also, he's not afraid of a long run time. This was what, close to 2.5 hours?
I'm actually not sure. Didn't look it up.
It was definitely well over 2 hours. But I think the runtime was utilised pretty well. And I think because of the runtime, it didn't feel like too much was crammed in because it was all given room to breathe. And I thought it was actually paced quite nicely. Yeah,
I mean, it was certainly slow at points.
We haven't even mentioned the data center subplot.
No.
The environmental stuff that was going on as well.
Yeah, it was definitely slow at points, but it wasn't, I was still interested in what was going on. And I think part of that is because it's a subject that obviously we're all familiar with. And the idea of getting sucked into a conspiracy theory or going down a rabbit hole is fascinating to me as well. So there was a lot of boxes ticked and I sort of wasn't sure where it was going to go. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but I was very surprised by probably each of the 3 acts and the things that happened towards the end of those. And I wasn't expecting a lot of it, and that's pretty rare.
Yeah. I think that is sort of Ari Aster's specialty, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you could say the same about any of his films so far.
There are always shocking moments. Yeah. There are always moments that are like not that they've come out of left field, but
he doesn't seem to adhere to like the strict story beats like a lot of more mainstream directors do.
He's definitely his own beast.
Yeah,
I do like that about him, and he's probably one of the most exciting filmmakers at the moment, I would say. I mean, for me, it's 4 for 4.
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, I have my favourites, but I've loved all of his movies.
Where does Eddington sit amongst the others for you?
I think I might have to sit on it for a bit longer.
Okay.
But it could be second. It's second or third, I think.
Wow.
I think. What about you?
That's a really difficult question because we watched Beau is Afraid and Eddington both in the last week. So they are a bit too recent. I don't know. I think I'd be more inclined to rewatch Eddington than I would Beau is Afraid.
Yeah, a bit shorter.
It's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit less obtuse. Somewhat.
I think you've got to be in the right frame of mind for Beau is Afraid. I think that is I think all of his movies, to be honest, like I think all movies you should just watch without looking at your telephone, to be honest. But I'm qualifying that. But Beau is Afraid is the sort of movie I think where you just sort of close the curtains, shut the world out, like just sort of lose yourself in it a bit and don't really think about it too much because that will do your head in.
You'll go insane.
Just enjoy it. Yeah. Enjoy it. Well, I feel less that way about Eddington. It's not really a I guess because Beau is Afraid is quite fantastical. Mm-hmm. It has a lot of fantasy elements. Not going to spoil that as well. And this is very real world. So I don't know. It's a different vibe, but it still has that Ari Aster weirdness and really dark sense of humor that I love. Yeah. And that's in all of his movies.
Agreed. And equally, it looked incredible. Like the going back to COVID and 2020, it sort of, it put me back in that frame of mind. And so it was quite an anxiety provoking watch just on that basis, because putting my brain back in that constant fight or flight mode of being terrified of getting sick was really deeply uncomfortable. But yeah, the way it looked, like just capturing like the empty streets and the I mean, it looked like quite a, not run down, but a town with a small population. Like it didn't look too densely populated anyway. But I really liked some of the cinematography.
Yeah,
particularly in the third act.
Yeah, I agree. I think the third act, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the third act.
There were some really nice shots.
Yeah, and it looked great. And it looked very good throughout. And just picking up on something you said there about the capturing the time when you went out and the streets were empty and it was quiet and you couldn't hear engines and stuff. It was weird. Yeah. And I had that same experience watching this for the first act. Certainly, there wasn't that much score. It was pretty quiet. Like people were driving around and it would just be the Foley noises, your cars and your footsteps and stuff. And it was quite haunting as well. And also like the virus was sort of a background thing. It wasn't really part of the main story. It was just a thing that was almost like a device for this movie to happen. Like everyone's trapped inside and losing their minds, but it doesn't really come to the forefront of the movie. And I thought that was an interesting choice. It's more about the time and our reaction to that period in time, and the anxiety of what you said earlier, the anxiety of will I get ill, will I catch this thing, but also the anxiety of people just. It was a weird time because on the one hand you'd go out and people were like, oh, brilliant, and we clap the NHS and all of that stuff, and then on the other hand,
it made people really selfish.
It did that too. Like I wore a mask. I thought it was really easy to wear a mask, like no drama. I don't have asthma or anything like that. You know, it's more complicated than wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of people got hung up with this thing's good or this thing's bad. It's like, well, nothing's 100%. So you just do your best. But I can understand if people had asthma or had a condition where they couldn't wear a mask and what they must have felt if they went out and they're getting filthy stares from people with masks on. Like, there were idiots on both sides of that conversation. Of course. And I appreciated that was more of a focus than the actual virus. It was the people's reactions to these mandates, these laws, and these people were being told what to do. And it was more their resistance to that I found fascinating, which was addressed in this movie.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think it is something that sort of takes a bit of a back seat. If anything, more kind of yes, the reaction to stuff like that, the reaction to the Black Lives Matter movement, the reaction, you know, the social justice stuff that was really kind of escalating at that time. Because I like to think I'm sort of on the side of right. You know, like that the way I live my life is hopefully means I'm going to be on the right side of history. But even then, some of the people who, while they had the right idea in the film, I was just like, you are insufferable.
Yeah.
I could not be around you.
Yeah.
Like that's who people are talking about on Reddit when they use social justice warrior as an insult.
Yeah.
So it was definitely taking pot shots at all sides and covering a lot of ground.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the movie was very clever in showing you opposite sides of the spectrum and showing you how everyone kind of loses with like extreme views and extreme actions.
Well, also a little bit of how they got there. So yeah, 2 thumbs up from me.
I loved it. I gave it 4 stars.
I think I did too.
But I think, we're the same. But I think I've been thinking about it a lot, and I think it might go up with another viewing.
You reckon?
I think so. Because that's if you're going by scoring, that's level with Hereditary now. I gave that a 4 too, I think. But I think I did like this a bit more. And this is more my kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait to see what he does next.
Oh my God. I hope one day Ari Aster is as prolific as Luca Guadagnino. She's pumping out 3 a year. Yeah. That would be ideal for me.
Yeah, I'll get on board with that. I could watch an Ari Aster movie every year.
Yeah.
Be like the MCU, but it's Ari Aster. Ari Aster. If Kevin Feige steps down, put Ari Aster in charge of the MCU. That's what I say.
Oh, I don't know.
Joaquin Phoenix would definitely come on board for Strange then, wouldn't he?
I don't know if the world's ready for that. Disney need to rejuvenate the Marvel slate, but I don't know if that's the way to go.
Well, they need to do it. Your choices are Ari Aster or Yorgos Lanthimos.
Do you know what? It's so funny you say that because I was sat there thinking at work today, I wonder if Ari Aster and Yorgos Lanthimos have ever met each other. I bet they'd get on.
Best mates.
So weird that you said that.
Yeah, they've both got a similar dark sense of humour, haven't they? And
not afraid to get really dark.
Yeah.
Not afraid to cover stuff that is otherwise considered very taboo.
Yeah.
Weirdos.
Pushing boundaries and not what I would consider safe filmmakers.
No.
And I love
but that's
that.
what makes them so exciting.
Agreed.